Welcome to the Florida Department of Transportation Hybrid Public Alternatives Meeting for the US 98 Around the Mound Project Development and Environment, or PD&E Study, Financial Project Identification Number 220260-3-22-01. The meeting is being conducted both in person and online, with the same information available through both formats. The purpose of this meeting is to share information and give you the opportunity to express your opinions or concerns about this project. If you do not hear audio, please check your computer speaker settings. If you are experiencing technical difficulties, please contact our technical support at jennifer.brownfield@atkinsrealis.com. In the event of technical difficulties during the meeting, please stay online while we work to resolve the issue. Before we start, I will share a few details to help you participate in this public meeting through GoToWebinar. For online participants, on your computer or device screen, you should see an information window that looks like the one shown on the right side. To listen to the meeting, your computer or device speakers are selected by default. If you prefer to listen by phone, select Telephone in the audio pane on the control panel and dial in using the information displayed. All virtual attendees will be placed in listen-only mode for the duration of the public meeting. The chat box is open now. If you have questions or comments about this project, you can ask them in the chat box during this presentation. The meeting is from 5:30 to 6:30 p.m. If you have a question and want a formal response from the Florida Department of Transportation, you can go to the webpage at nwflroads.com/calendar. At a later date, we will provide responses to written comments submitted during the online meeting and those submitted at the in-person meeting. Public participation is encouraged and solicited without regard to race, color, national origin, age, sex, religion, disability, or family status. Persons wishing to express their concerns about Title VI may do so by contacting either the FDOT District 3 office or the Tallahassee office. This contact information is displayed on the screen, at the sign-in table at the meeting, and in the handout that is available at the meeting or online. The Florida Department of Transportation is conducting a Project Development and Environment Study, also called a PD&E study, to develop and evaluate proposed conceptual improvements for State Road 30, which is also known as US 98 or Miracle Strip Parkway, from State Road 189, Beale Parkway, to the west end of Brooks Bridge. The study also extends north along State Road 85, Eglin Parkway, from US 98 to Hollywood Boulevard, and includes State Road 145, Perry Avenue, from US 98 to State Road 85, Eglin Parkway. This project is located within the city of Fort Walton Beach in Okaloosa County and is locally known as Around the Mound. The purpose of the study is to address existing and future vehicular capacity and safety issues on US 98, as well as the high volumes of regional and commuter traffic traveling through downtown Fort Walton Beach. This project is needed to increase the capacity of the facility to accommodate current and future traffic and to reduce regional and commuter traffic through downtown Fort Walton Beach. The project is consistent with the City of Fort Walton Beach Downtown Master Plan completed in May of 2019. The study recommended the realignment of US 98 north of the Fort Walton Temple Mound and Museum to enable future development of a pedestrian-focused, retail-oriented Main Street environment within the downtown core. The Fort Walton Beach Downtown Master Plan forms the planning basis for the project. Following the completion of the master plan, the Florida Department of Transportation completed a feasibility study in August of 2020 that evaluated alternative ways to improve traffic flow consistent with the master plan. The feasibility study evaluated 3 build alternatives and concluded that feasibility study alternatives 1 and 2 should move forward into the PD&E phase. Feasibility study alternative 3 was eliminated. This image summarizes the decision process leading up to today's meeting. Following approval of the feasibility study, FDOT performed an initial alternative screening as part of this PD&E study. Based on additional traffic analysis, feasibility study alternative 1 was replaced by two alternatives for consideration in the PD&E study, including alternative 1A at grade and alternative 1B grade separated. Alternative 1A and alternative 1B are the subject of this meeting. The no-build alternative also remains an option. Feasibility study alternative 2 is no longer under consideration due to traffic flow issues identified during the alternatives screening. A decision on the preferred alternative has not yet been made. At this meeting, we are seeking public comments on the two PD&E build alternatives, consisting of alternative 1A at grade and alternative 1B grade separated. These two PD&E alternatives are summarized here and on the following slides. At grade is a term that means all improvements would be constructed near the existing ground level with no bridges. PD&E alternative 1A proposes improvements that are at grade. Grade separated is a term that means bridges would be used for some traffic movements. PD&E alternative 1B proposes improvements that incorporate grade separated bridges for some traffic movements. The images shown here reflect the conceptual layouts of both alternatives and are provided in the project handout and expanded on the display boards in greater detail. This slide shows a rendering of alternative 1A looking south from State Road 85 with Brooks Bridge on the left side of the image. Alternative 1A would realign US 98 consistent with the Fort Walton Beach Master Plan and reconfigure the intersection of US 98 and State Road 85 at grade as a three-point triangular intersection with signals at all 3 points of the triangle. In total, alternative 1A would require 5 signalized intersections within the project limits, which are shown on the display boards available at this meeting. Note this and other renderings presented at the meeting are for illustration purposes to help attendees understand the overall concepts. More detailed and accurate information is presented on the displays showing an overhead view of the project, which are available at this meeting. This slide presents the overall configuration of alternative 1A. There is too much detail to view at this scale, so this image is available for download and is presented at the public meeting. There are 3 separate boards dedicated to alternative 1A available that show more detailed information to help communicate the project improvements and where proposed right-of-way is needed. This slide shows a rendering of alternative 1B looking south from State Road 85 with Brooks Bridge on the left side of the image. Alternative 1B would realign US 98 consistent with the Fort Walton Beach Master Plan and reconfigure the intersection of US 98 and State Road 85. The alternative includes 2 bridges serving eastbound US 98 through traffic and southbound State Road 85 traffic destined for Okaloosa Island. The bridges would allow a net reduction in the number of traffic signals required on the project from 5 to 3. Alternative 1B signal locations are shown on the displays available at this meeting. This slide presents the overall configuration of alternative 1B. There is too much detail to view at this scale, so this image is available for download and is presented at the public meeting. There are 3 separate boards dedicated to alternative 1B available that show detailed information to help communicate the project improvements and where proposed right-of-way is needed. Now let's look at some of the roadway configurations known as typical sections. In this presentation, we will show the typical sections proposed for US 98. A full set of typical sections including US 98, State Road 85, and State Road 145, Perry Avenue, are available to view outside of this presentation as part of the meeting materials. In both alternatives, US 98 would be diverted around the Mound and expanded from 4 to 6 lanes of through traffic, with 3 11-foot lanes in each direction. 12-foot wide shared use paths would be provided on both sides of the road for bicycles and pedestrians. In Alternative 1B, two bridges would elevate segments of US 98 and State Road 85 to improve traffic flow and reduce the number of traffic signals needed. The location of these two bridges is shown here and in greater detail on the display boards. Each bridge would provide two 11-foot travel lanes. Bicycles and pedestrians would remain on the shared use paths at ground level. Your project handout and the boards available for download and on display at the meeting provide additional information on other roadway configurations such as for Eglin Parkway and Perry Avenue. Now let's look at a comparison of the two alternatives. FDOT is evaluating engineering and environmental considerations for both alternatives. Evaluations are underway but not yet completed. The purpose of this meeting is to get initial public input on the two alternatives to help guide FDOT through the decision-making process. Some key differences between the two alternatives are summarized here. Alternative 1A would utilize 5 traffic signals, no bridges, and require approximately 25 acres of new right-of-way from 92 parcels, with 71 potential business relocations and 1 potential residential relocation. Alternative 1A would cost approximately $299.1 million for design, right-of-way, and construction. Alternative 1B would utilize 3 traffic signals, 2 bridges, and require approximately 10 acres of new right-of-way from 82 parcels, with 69 potential business relocations and 1 potential residential relocation. Alternative 1B would cost approximately $311.8 million for design, right-of-way, and construction. The next 4 slides show side-by-side comparison renderings of the two alternatives from different viewpoints. These renderings are available to view outside of this presentation as part of the meeting materials. This slide shows a rendering of proposed improvements looking east along US 98 toward downtown Fort Walton Beach, with Brooks Bridge in the distance in the upper right of the images. This view shows the proposed 6-lane US 98 and the intersection at State Road 189, Beale Parkway. The configuration of US 98 is the same at this location for both alternatives. This view is looking south along State Road 85, Eglin Parkway toward downtown, with Brooks Bridge in the upper left of the images. In Alternative 1A, the road improvements are constructed at grade. In Alternative 1B, some of the traffic movements are elevated with 2 bridges. This view is looking easterly along the rerouted US 98 at the convergence with State Road 85, Eglin Parkway. Brooks Bridge is in the upper right of the images. In Alternative 1A, the road improvements are constructed at grade. In Alternative 1B, some of the traffic movements are elevated with 2 bridges. This view is looking easterly along existing US 98 with Brooks Bridge in the upper right of the image and the Indian Temple Mound in the center. Existing US 98 through downtown is shown on the right and labeled Business 98, although the official disposition of the road has not been determined. In Alternative 1A, the road improvements are constructed at grade. In Alternative 1B, some of the traffic movements are elevated with 2 bridges. In the overall transportation development process, we are in the Project Development and Environment, or PD&E study phase. Future project phases of design, right-of-way, and construction are not yet funded. Therefore, there is currently no date identified for completion of this project. This alternatives meeting is an important part of the PD&E study phase where we need public input before identifying a preferred alternative. Next, we will consider public input, complete the engineering and environmental evaluation, and come back for a public hearing before a decision is made in 2025. There are many ways to provide input. You can complete a comment form or send an email to the FDOT project manager at the contact information provided on this slide. The FDOT project manager is Brandon Bruner, and his email is bbruner@hntb.com. For online participants, you can submit your comments or questions in the chat box or on the project website by scanning the code shown here, or download the comment form and send it back by mail or email. Comments are due by Friday, March 1st, 2024. That concludes the presentation. Thank you for attending this public meeting. This is a looping presentation and will now repeat.